the president is now a king above the law. The president is now a king above the law. That wasn't Waldo saying it. That wasn't some crazy internet leftist. It wasn't some lunatic on Twitch. It was a Supreme Court justice saying that. And she's right. Let's take a look at the news. How bad can it be? Oh, it's bad. Yeah, it's real bad. Here we go. U.S. Supreme Court rules Trump has absolute immunity for official acts. What is an official act? Well, that's an excellent question. Fuck you for asking. Court rules former president entitled to some degree of immunity from criminal prosecution. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that former presidents are entitled to some degree of immunity from criminal prosecution, a major victory for Donald Trump that guts the 2020 election subversion case against him and any prospect of a trial before November. The court's conservative majority, which Trump helped create, found at 6-3 that presidents were protected from prosecution for official actions that extended to the outer perimeter of his office, but could face charges for unofficial conduct. So, what's unofficial conduct? Nobody knows. You don't know, I don't know. The Supreme Court will make that decision if and when they feel like it. What the Supreme Court is going to do is anytime someone tries to hold the president, especially Donald Trump, responsible for the actions that they've taken, the Supreme Court will have to make a decision. Actually, all courts will make a decision. Is this an official action or not? And then that choice will allow you to determine whether or not you can hold him criminally responsible. And if you do, that decision will be appealed. You see? So that decision will get appealed until by both sides. If somebody decides that yes, Donald Trump did an unofficial action on Jan 6th, and they would prosecute him for it, that decision will be appealed up the chain. Then the next court will decide, no, that wasn't an official action, and then that'll get appealed, and it'll go up to the next judge, and then the next judge will say, yes, it was an official action, and then the loser of whichever side will appeal that up to the Supreme Court, and then it will get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will side with Donald Trump, because they always do, and they're always going to.
Sounds like you need to pack a court.
Sounds like we need to pack a court. Impossible. Court packing's already done. The Republicans did it for the past 20 years. It's over. It's done. Checkmate. Atheist. You lose.
Hello human, it is me Canuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Let's see. Trump is accused of overseeing sprawling efforts to subvert the 2020 election, including 2 counts of conspiring to obstruct the certification of election results, conspiring to defraud the government, and conspiring to disenfranchise voters. Among the accusations, Trump spread false claims, blah, 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 blah. We already know all the things he's accused of. But what we want is what the court did today. The court left analysis up to Chutkin, but Chief Justice Roberts, writing for the majority, preemptively determined that Trump's interactions with the Justice Department officials were official acts because they are part of the executive branch in answer to the president. So, if he goes to the Justice Department official and tells them he wants to cheat at the election, you cannot hold him criminally responsible. You can't. It's impossible. You can't do that because that's part of his job as the president. Roberts also determined that Trump's interactions with Pence were presumptively immune because the president discussing responsibilities with the vice president was an instance of official conduct. The burden was on the prosecutors to prove otherwise. And on the matter of Trump's remarks on January 6th, Roberts wrote that they too were probably protected since presidential addresses were an integral function of the office. So the president will come out and look into the camera. He will stand in front of the official seal and tell you the crime he's about to commit, and that will count as official. Won't matter what he does, what laws he breaks, what rights he tramples. As long as he does so in an official sense, it's acceptable. And there's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? Sue him? You can't. He can't be held criminally responsible. What are you going to do? Impeach him?
So if he stands in front of a podium and says, hang Mike Pence, and they hang Mike Pence, he's in the clear.
Yeah, he didn't do that. The person who did it, if they don't specifically work for the president, they might get lawsuits. But if they don't specifically work for him, they might get in trouble for it, but he won't. He can say, hang Mike Pence. He can.
Then he gets pardoned.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're getting ahead of the game. Now you're in the zone, KBP. the president tells you to do a crime, you do it, then he pardons you. Who cares? That's fine. That's acceptable. And then the people can pay him for it, because that was part of the whole kickback bribery scandal we had earlier this week, or last week. Today's Monday. So last week I talked about how bribery is legal now. So the president says, hang Mike Pence. People hang Mike Pence. The president then pardons them. They get to go free, and they can then give Donald Trump money. That's fine. That's how our entire system works now. That is the law that you live under now. Sorry. Don't like it? Fucking too late. Too bad. You got nothing. You got nothing. You think Biden's going to stop this? Let's watch what Biden has to say about this. This is the biggest, most important political thing that's ever happened in our lives, maybe. And I'm sure he has some really important words, and he's going to really absolutely bring it home. Here we go. Let's listen to Joe Biden talk about it.
Good evening. The presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office that not only tests your judgment, perhaps even more importantly, it's an office that can test your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed. For all practical purposes, today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a
Sounds pretty serious. No limits to what the president can do.
fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent, because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone. This decision today has continued the court's attack in recent years on a wide range of long-established legal principles in our nation, from gutting voting rights and civil rights, to taking away a woman's right to choose, to today's decision that undermines the rule of law of this nation. Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power. We all saw it with our own eyes. We sat there and watched it happen that day. Attack on the police, the ransacking at the Capitol, a mob literally hunting down the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, gallows erected to hang the Vice President, Mike Pence. I think it's fair to say it's one of the darkest days in the history of America. Now the man who sent that mob to the U.S. Capitol is facing potential criminal conviction for what happened that day. And the American people deserve to have an answer in the courts before the upcoming election. The public has a right to know the answer about what happened on January 6th before they are asked to vote again this year. Now, because of today's decision, that is highly, highly unlikely. It's a terrible disservice to the people of this nation. So now the American people will have to do what the courts should have been willing to do, but will not. The American people have to render a judgment about Donald Trump's behavior. The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th makes him unfit for public office in the highest office in the land. The American people must decide if Trump's embrace of violence to preserve his power is acceptable. Perhaps most importantly, the American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again, the presidency, to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it. You know, at the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, to define the presidency. He believed power was limited, not absolute. And that power always resides with the people, always. Now, over 200 years later, with today's Supreme Court decision, once again, it will depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years, but any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law. I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent. May God bless you all, and may God help preserve our democracy. Thank you. And may God protect our troops.
That's it. No plan, no suggestion on what he's going to do about it. Nothing. Because there is nothing that can be done. The legislature could write some new laws, but they won't. They can't. They are entirely incapable of functioning. He's got nothing. Could he go and start doing all these terrible things that I think Trump is going to do? He could. He's not going to, because he has principles, you see. He calls it character. So he's not going to do anything bad for the next 4 months, even though he could. He won't. Could he arrest
Okay, I went off the roller coaster now.
Let's get off the roller coaster. Yeah, he's got nothing. Could he go and arrest the 6 Supreme Court justices? Yes, he could. And he could bring up a bunch of new ones. But that would lead to violence, and so he won't. That would lead to uncomfortable people within D.C., and so he won't do that. He will do nothing. He will continue on his campaign. He will not give up, probably. I hope he does, but I don't think he will. I wish he would give up on his current campaign and step down gracefully and let somebody else be in charge for a little while. But he won't. I don't think he will. I've been looking at there's a bunch of people prognosticating on it, and myself included, and so I just watch what all the people are watching and saying and stuff like that, and it seems like he's not going to.
Have to get 23rds of the House and Senate and 34th of the states to ratify an amendment. Good luck, everybody.
Right. Yeah, the amendment's not going to happen. You could pass some legislation on what the president is and isn't allowed to do and stuff like that, and they could codify. They could codify official acts. They really could. But do you think that they can? I don't think they can. I think the Senate and the House are made up of absolute morons who cannot accomplish anything. And even if they were to accomplish or have a goal set in mind, the bipartisan side, one side versus the other, would shit all over it. Any rule that any of those codes that codifies what is and isn't an official action, the Republicans would weigh against what Donald Trump wants. And if Donald Trump doesn't want that part of the code, then they will stand against it. They will filibuster it. They will drag it down. They will try and veto just that one bill, like that one bit of the line. They'll get like a line veto thing kind of going, and it will not pass. This would take literally years of hashing out within the House and Senate to get nailed down, which is why it won't happen. The Republicans love this. They're absolutely on board for this because they want a dictator. They want Donald Trump, dictator, to come in and tell them how to operate. That takes all of the pressure off of them. It really does. The Senate doesn't want to be making decisions. They're wieners, you see. They don't want difficult things coming to them, and then they have to make decisions and learn stuff and then take the consequences, repercussions, and heat from the constituency. They don't want any of that. They just want to be live streamers. They want to get up in their suits and they want to stand in front of a camera and tell you their feelings. That is what the Senate wants. That's what the House wants. That's what they want to do. That's what I do. And that's what they want to do as well. But they are too old to recognize they can just do that on Twitch. So they have run for office, and it's way more, they make a lot more money there, obviously. So that's what they do. They just tell you their feelings. And they don't want all these difficult questions. Don't bother them with all the hard things. Let's keep looking at the links. What else have we got? The most damaging part of this ruling for prosecutors will be the prohibition of using any conduct determined to be official acts as evidence at trial. Prosecutors had hoped they could introduce official acts, even if they weren't charged, as evidence to show Trump's intent. That's not allowed.
Plus free publicity when you make batshit crazy comments.
Yeah. you can't use anything that was part of an official act as evidence at trial. So if Donald Trump tells the DOJ to break the election and do illegal things on the election, he can't be held responsible. And you cannot ask if he did that in his official act. You cannot determine. You can't look at any official act he has taken and use that as evidence to determine his intent. He intended to cheat at the election. He told his DOJ, I would like to cheat at the election. You can't use that as intent, whether or not he tried to cheat at the election. The ruling was one of the last handed down by the Supreme Court this term, on purpose. You know, they didn't do this by accident last. In waiting until the end, the conservative majority played into Trump's benefit and legal strategy of trying to delay any trial as much as possible. The effect of the ruling to block prompt trial after the court moved quickly to keep Trump on the ballot in March has already ignited fierce criticism by liberals and others who believe Trump's case should be resolved before voters cast their ballot in the forthcoming election. So, yeah, they... back in March, the Supreme Court moved with lightning quickness to keep Trump on the ballot because they wanted to benefit him. They moved with sloth speed on this immunity case, dragging it as far forward as possible, as close to the election as possible, because they wanted to benefit him. Allowing him to have this immunity will open the door to Trump committing massive crimes, massive abuses of power, to benefit himself. And the Supreme Court has given themselves the authority to decide what is
Nixon is rolling in his grave screaming, why didn't I think of that?
Right, exactly. The Supreme Court's given themselves the authority to decide what is and isn't an official act. They will make those decisions based on what benefits Trump the most. That is their plan. This is the plan. We will talk about Nixon. I've got a quote from him here in just a minute. And he would have gotten away with all of his stuff under this bunch of rules. Nixon would be fine under this rule because he recorded those people from the Oval Office as an official act. You're not allowed to look at those, according to the Supreme Court. From his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida, Trump celebrated the ruling with an all-caps statement about Truth Social. Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American. Donald Trump will cancel both of those things. The Constitution and democracy. They're gone, man. He thinks that he's going to be elected and become the king. Last October, Trump did this. Trump's election subversion case remained frozen as the Supreme Court considered this immunity claim, after the D.C. Circuit denied the appeal, with the conservative justices showing no urgency to resolve the case at oral arguments, partly because they appeared to see the case as politically motivated. As the justices worked through the potential tests to delineate between official and private conduct, Justice Amy Coney Barrett suggested the special counsel could always get around the time-consuming process by editing his own indictment and bringing the case on unambiguously private acts. So you can't, if he wrote crimes down on a letterhead that said President of the United States, well, that's an official act. You know, if he said it while sitting in the Oval Office, that's an official act. There's no way around it. The man he doesn't take time off. You know, he doesn't clock out at 5 o'clock and not be the president until 9 a.m. the next morning. That's not how that works. He is the president even while he's asleep. So all acts that he takes are official acts. The president can now assassinate you officially. Under the new standard, the president can go on a 4 to 8 year crime spree and then retire from public life and never be held accountable. Yep. This is a leftist organization, The Nation. Donald Trump won, everybody. The Supreme Court today ruled that the presidents are entitled to absolute immunity from criminal prosecutions for acts that contend then pressuring the vice president, from criminal prosecution for official acts. Then contended, hi, Cyberstock, how you doing? Give us your hot take. We're lamenting about the latest news.
Good.
Let's see. Department of Justice to overthrow the government was an official act. So when he pressured the vice president
What's
and the
on the
Department of
news?
Justice, Trump's the king now. He gets to dodge all responsibility and is completely immune from crimes. Then contend that pressuring the vice president and the Department of Justice to overthrow the government was an official act. That it
Nice,
just
I
was.
would love that too.
Then said that talking to advisors or making public statements are official acts as well, and then determined that evidence of what presidents say and do cannot be used against them to establish their acts as unofficial. 6-3, obviously. Let's see. Legally, there are two critical things to understand about the totality of the court's ruling here. The immunity is absolute. There is no legislative way to get rid of what the court has given. I thought maybe there would be. I don't know. I think the legislature can still pass something, maybe, but unlikely that they ever could. Let's see. On the first point, the immunity granted to Trump in this case far exceeds the immunity granted to, say, police officers for qualified immunity, I think is what it's called. Oh, yeah, there it is, qualified immunity. Government officials, when they act in their official capacities, those officials are granted qualified immunity from civil penalties. Police officers, they do clock out at the end of the day, unlike presidents, have something called qualified immunity, which keeps, if they speed in their duties as acting as police officers, they're allowed to do that. That's fine, usually. I mean, they abuse it a little bit, and you can make an entire case about how they do abuse that and go over the top, and the police state in America is a little bit fucked. But because the immunity is qualified, it can be taken away. Pierced is the legal jargon for taking away an official's qualified immunity. People can bring evidence against officials and argue that they shouldn't be given immunity because of the gravity or depravity of their acts. So, if a police officer does something bad, you can then go through the court processes to have them prosecuted for the crime that they have committed. Not so with Trump. Presidents are now entitled to absolute immunity, which means that no matter what they do, the immunity cannot be lost. They are always and forever immune, no matter what evidence is brought to bear. He just gets to break the law now. It's going to be great. What could possibly go wrong? Moreover, unlike other officials, presidents are now entitled to absolute immunity from criminal charges. Even a cop can be charged with murder, even if they argue that killing people is part of the job. But not presidents. Presidents can murder, rape, steal, and pretty much do whatever they want, so long as they argue that murdering, raping, or stealing is part of the official job of the President of the United States. There is no crime that pierces the veil of absolute immunity. So this is going to be great. I'm sure you won't be abused at all. Under this new standard, the president can go on a 4 to 8 year crime spree, steal all the money, and murder all the people they can get their hands on, and all under the guise of presumptive official behavior, and then retire from public life, never to be held accountable for their crimes while in office. That, according to the court, is what the Constitution requires. Now, the example. So this actually got brought up during the arguments in front of the Supreme Court. Sotomayor actually brought this situation up. Take now the classic example of the president ordering SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. According to the logic of the Republicans and the Supreme Court, that would likely be an official act. According to their logic, there is no way to prove it's unofficial, because any conversation the president has with their military advisors is official and cannot be used against them. They just get to do whatever they want now. The president is the king. There will doubtless be people still wondering if Trump can somehow be prosecuted. The answer is no. Special Counsel Jack Smith will surely argue that pretending fake electors in connection with his cadre of campaign sycophants was not an official act. Lower court judges may well agree, but then the appeal gets back to the Supreme Court next year. The same justices who just ruled that Trump's entitled to absolute immunity will surely rule that submitting fake electors was also part of his official responsibilities. There's no way around this anymore. Can't be done. If Jack Smith even is capable of sorting out official from unofficial.
So those fake electors could be official electors if he says so.
Yes, if he says so, they can be. They will be. That's just the way it is now. He says it, it's real, it's true. There's no way around it. If he says these are the electors and they're fake, they're the ones you need to use in the Senate might be able to figure out which are the correct electors and which ones aren't. And maybe if Mitch McConnell we know he has a dozen fake electors. Let's game it out. The 24 election goes exactly like the 20 election. All the states are the same. Let's keep it the same just for the sake of arguments. Those fake electors give their documents, because that's what they did. They gave fake documents and they sent fake electors to the Capitol. Mitch McConnell would accept them. The president would say, those are the electors right there. Those are the ones that those are the true electors. You can't sue the president over it. You might be able to come to some sort of litigation against Mitch McConnell in the Senate. But even then, even if he breaks the law, it'll take you years to prove it, and he will just get pardoned by Donald Trump. The end. Who cares at this point? Honestly. If you break the law for a Republican they will pardon you. So that's not going to happen. Trump won. He won completely. He tried to overthrow the government and he got away with it. I can't even imagine what he'll try if he's actually given power again, knowing full well that he will never be held accountable for literal crimes. Supreme Court impeachment plan released by AOC. That's nice. It won't go anywhere. I support her doing so. Representative AOC announced plans to introduce articles of impeachment against the United States Supreme Court justices on Monday after the court ruled the president has immunity for official actions. The court on Monday ruled, we already know about that. AOC, a Democrat from New York, wrote on Monday afternoon that she would introduce articles of impeachment against the court. This is really bad. This is really bad. And nothing will be done. According to AOC, okay, so she says, the Supreme Court has become consumed by a corruption crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. Yes, it's up to Congress to defend our nation from this authoritarian capture. I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return. It won't go anywhere. She's doing the right thing, but it won't go anywhere. The Republicans have the slim majority in the House, and they will shut it down because they like this. The Republicans want authoritarianism. They are authoritarianism. They love it. They like it. They can't win elections any longer. So they need to have the court decide that they're in charge forever for no reason. Because they said so. That's why. The conservatives on the Supreme Court will bend and break every word to get their preferred outcome. They will twist every definition, and they will get their team the win. They have no principles, they have no ethics, they have only the will to power and the will to win. And if your rights get trampled along the way, they don't care. Be prepared for every official act a Dem commits to be called a crime, and every crime a Republican commits to be called an official act. That is the new little mantra that they're going to have. This is going to go really badly. This is going to go pretty awful.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
Don't believe John Roberts. The Supreme Court just made the president a king. So it's not just Waldo saying this. Like, lots of people are thinking this. The Supreme Court's conservative supermajority fundamentally altered American democracy on Monday, awarding the president a sweeping and novel immunity when he weaponizes the power of his office for corrupt, violent, or treasonous purposes. The near insurmountable shield against prosecution for crimes committed while in office upends the structure of the federal government, elevating the presidency to a king-like status, high above other branches. The immediate impact of the court's sweeping decision will be devastating enough, allowing Donald Trump to evade accountability for the most destructive and criminal efforts he took in 2020, but the long-term impact is even more harrowing. It is unclear after Monday's decision what constitutional checks remain to stop any president from assuming dangerous and monarchical power that are anathema to representative government. As Sonia Sotomayor put it in her terrified and terrifying dissent, the president is now a king above the law. The president is now a king above the law. That wasn't Waldo saying it. That wasn't some crazy fucking on an internet leftist. It wasn't some lunatic on Twitch. It was a Supreme Court justice saying that. And she's right. Here is what Justice Sotomayor said, and I think this is good. This is a really good sentence. Today's decision to grant former presidents criminal immunity reshapes the institution of the presidency. It makes a mockery of the principle foundational to our Constitution and system of government.
We are cooked no two ways about it.
Right. That no man is above the law, relying on little more than its own misguided wisdom about the need for bold and unhesitating action. By the president, the court gives former President Trump all the immunity he asked for and more, because our Constitution does not shield a former president from answering for criminal and treasonous acts. I dissent. Dark charisma. We are cooked. There's no two ways about it. There's no way around this. I don't know how we beat this. I really don't.
Justices is well served for life, and this just feels an average ruling they do on the regular now.
Well, yeah, they did a bunch last week as well. And they made themselves the arbiters of what is and isn't an official act. I think that's the important bit to remember. Yes, the president is the king, but you know who he has to have on his side to make sure that he has the power of the king? The Supreme Court. They will decide whether or not he has.
And no Democratic president will ever appoint more justices. BC, we are morally above it.
Right, because we're morally above it. Biden made a 5-minute long speech where he just complained about it. He has no plans to beat it. He has no plans on what to do in case it goes wrong. He is not going to load the court up, and even if he did, they wouldn't pass the Senate, and they would make a screaming match about it. The Senate would, all the Republicans on the Senate and the House would scream bloody murder about it and say that he didn't get his way, and so he's trying to load the court up, and it wouldn't look good, and he would lose the next election, and it would make him lose the next election. Honestly, I think he's going to lose anyway, but this would not help. Let's see. Sotomayor says some things. She wrote a whole lot, and if you have a legalese
Yay,
kind
it's
of mind,
just depressing to live here now.
I know it's going to get real weird. I'm going to watch it and keep my eye on it and keep pointing at it until they kick in my door with the jackbooted thugs for speaking the truth. But I'm so low on the totem pole, I'm sure they've got a few more people before me. All the biggest lefty streamers get their doors kicked in and they go off to Guantanamo. That gives me like 2 or 3 weeks of really good numbers, really nice high numbers. As they're gone, I'm the only streamer left until they kick in my door, and I'll feel really smug and really good about it while I'm in line for the re-education camp. I'll feel smug, and that's what's important, is as long as I feel good about myself before I get to the re-education camp. It's going to be a good time. The court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president. There's just a law-free zone around the president. I love that. Upsetting the status quo that has existed since the founding when he uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning. He will now be insulated from criminal prosecution, orders the Navy SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe for exchange for a pardon, immune. And that's what he's going to do. Donald Trump loves money. Man, he loves it. If you promise to pay him, he'll pardon anybody. Honestly, he'll just pardon anybody he wants, especially if you helped him get his election. If people are going to bomb polling places, they will get pardoned because it was in a Democrat-run city. It was a Democrat-run city. You understand? The places are lawless, and people are right-wingers will bomb that place, and they'll get pardoned by Donald Trump. They will. That's my prediction. That's one of the many predictions that I'm making. But yeah, I think it is about to get really bad, really weird, really dangerous. Sotomayor went on, let the president violate the law, let him exploit the trappings of his office for personal gain. Let him use his official power for evil ends. Because if he knew that he may one day face liability for breaking the law, he might not be as bold and fearless as we would like him to be. That's the majority's message for today. Even if these nightmare scenarios never play out, and I pray that they never do, the damage has been done. The relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably. In every use of the official power, the president is now a king above the law. Bad times. It's going to be bad and it's going to be ugly. So yeah, we saw Biden a few minutes ago come out and he gave a sad little speech. He's going to complain about this, but that's all. Nancy Pelosi is going to write a strong worded letter, but that's it. That's the end of the things that they will do. The conservatives are putting together lists of names, and Trump is going to pardon all of the Jan 6 rioters and give them new jobs as his personal brown shirts. And anything that they do wrong will be covered under Trump's immunity as an official act. What's to stop him from burning down the Reichstag, That's where all the communists were meeting up and making plans. He'll just call Nancy Pelosi a communist, arrest her, burn her office down, and put her staff in jail too. Trump could send her to Guantanamo and get waterboarded. And if she's lucky, years later, there would be a court case that goes to the SCOTUS, in which they can say that, yes, that was an official act because he ordered the FBI to do it. That'll be it. There will be nobody else to stand against him at that point. Nobody will come back. Nobody will stand against him. AOC won't keep putting up bills to impeach the Supreme Court if Nancy Pelosi is in Guantanamo Bay being waterboarded for being a communist. Ooh, here we go. Nixon quotes. Let's look at what Nixon had to say. He said, let me scoot this over a little bit so you can see the whole thing. He said, Frost, the interviewer, asked Mr. Nixon whether the president could do something illegal in certain situations, such as against anti-war groups and others if he decides it's in the best interest of the nation or something. That's what the reporter said. Can you just break the law if it's what's best for the nation? This is a problem we've had for a while with crooked people. Nixon then replied, well, when the president does it, that means it's not illegal. This right here, in case you're too young to notice or to have known or been around for that thing, this was taught to people as a crooked, criminal act. Richard Nixon cannot be trusted. He was a criminal. He was, in fact, a crook. He said he wasn't, but he was. This is the thing that we need to avoid. This used to be textbook authoritarianism. We used to think that that was the worst thing that a president could do. But now, it's fine. It's legal. What Nixon did is legal now. He shouldn't, according to the Supreme Court, he shouldn't have been prosecuted for it. He wasn't prosecuted. They were about to impeach him, but then he willingly left because he knew he broke the law. And that's what he had to say afterward. When the president does it, that means it's not illegal. We used to use that as shorthand for crookedness, for criminality, for letting people know, hey, this guy was a crook. And he even admitted to so. He said, it's not illegal when I do it because I'm the president. You see, the president will do more illegal things because they're allowed to. If conservatives become convinced that they cannot win democratically, they will not abandon conservatism. They will reject democracy. This is from a guy named David Frum. If conservatives become convinced they cannot win democratically, they will not abandon conservatism. They will reject democracy. That is exactly what they've done today. They can no longer win. Donald Trump lost the popular vote both times. It was only through a weird little electoral college loophole that he won against Hillary. They are losing, and they have to abandon democracy to win. And that's what the Supreme Court has done today. The Supreme Court didn't do this accidentally. They didn't come across this accidentally. Why did this happen? Because the Supreme Court had to cut the legs out from under Jack Smith's prosecution. And the only way to do that is to abandon the law, abandon all precedents, abandon all the rules from our entire history. Jack Smith case is absolutely not going to happen before the election now. The official versus non-official acts will take years, and I'm not even kidding here, years to separate out what is and isn't an official act. And even then, the Supreme Court might shoot it down in the ass. It's the same for the Georgia case with the false electors. His lawyers are now filing paperwork claiming that everything he did on January the 6th was an official act. The fake electors that he enlisted to lie to you about who was the winner of the election, that's an official act. The fake paperwork that he sent to the Senate with Rudy Giuliani is just part of the president's official authority. It's okay now that he's allowed to do that. When the president does it, that means it's not illegal. That was the quote from Nixon, who we got rid of because he was a damned criminal. If a president can commit crimes with immunity, they will. How long until they come after something that you care about? How long until they commit a crime against something that is important to you? That's what I would say to the conservatives. If sometimes I get some in chat. Why would you be on board for this? You hate the conservatives yell at me every day in my comments, talk about how Joe Brandon is a fucking fascist. Well, if he is, what is he? He now has all the authority in the world. He's the king now. You don't have to fucking like it, but he's the fucking king now. Is he going to do anything with it? No, because he was never a fascist. You were exaggerating. If he were, he'd be bombing Mar-a-Lago right fucking now. But he's not going to do that because he has principles. He has ethics. He has ethos. He has a morality that Republicans do not have. They don't have that. They don't need it. All they have is the will to
Best
power.
viewers on.
Great. Oh no, your link didn't work. Oh no, it's so bad. I'm glad I was done ranting. You didn't interrupt me. I am going to delete you message though. I'm glad you were here for me to vent my fear of frustration. That I really appreciate that. I'm gonna go get a beer. And
Bot
I'll be back.
fail.
Bot fail. Yeah. I know. I'm gonna go get a beer and I will be right back. I can still hear you, so chat me up, I suppose.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel. This streamer's an authoritarian, you can just delete people. SCOTUS said it was okay, he's the president of this stream. Bot thoughts matter, I stand with Canuch. I heard fireworks.
No, you didn't hear fireworks. That was the armed militias that are already roving the streets. I mean, who's going to stop them, right? Let's see. Yeah, I am authoritarian. I do delete people if they are just in here with their nonsense links. Yeah, I like this quote. This is right on the money. The conservatives can't win anymore, so they have set up a system so that they will never lose again. They can't win, so they just set it up to the where they'll never lose. Here is Chief Justice John Roberts lying his ass off. Let's watch him.
I believe that no one is above the law
Well, that was a fucking lie.
under our system, and that includes the president. The president is fully bound by the law, the Constitution, and statutes. I believe that no.
Well, that was a fucking lie. What is this? This is September. This is 2005 when he was being interviewed to go on to the Supreme Court. Lying, you know? He thought so then. He's changed his mind. This is a very conservative thing to do, is to lie about during your interview and then get all the votes and then get accepted. Amy Barrett did it when she said Roe v. Wade was settled law. So
That's before the checks cleared.
yeah, that's before the checks started rolling in, you see. Amy Barrett said it too when they asked her about abortion, because she had written many legal arguments about how abortion ought to be illegal. So then when she gets suggested by Donald Trump to become the Supreme Court Justice, the liberals all said, what do you think about abortion? And she said it was settled law. She lied. She, months later, voted to overturn it because she was lying, you see. Same thing for Brett Kavanaugh. He said it was settled law. They both used that term, settled law, because the Federalist Society told them what to say so that they could get past the pesky voting
Settle
rules.
in your trash can.
Right. They told them what to say when asked that question so that they could get past the election process and then get in there and then shut that shit down. So Kavanaugh lied about that. He lied about a few things. Roberts has lied about that. Barrett has lied about abortion as well. And now it doesn't matter. They're in charge. Let's see. What do I think is going to happen in the near future? What's going to happen is AOC is going to propose that thing in the next couple of weeks to impeach them. It won't go anywhere. It's not a publicity stunt. It is literally like the dying gasp of the last bit of authority and power that the House is going to have. They will shoot it down. They will abandon it because they don't want power. They want authority. There's a slight difference. So and they want to be live streamers, as I said before. So she's going to suggest that it's going to get shut down. Then in August, we're going to have the DNC convention. I suggest that Biden should willingly bow out and let someone else take over in August at an open convention. That's my suggestion. He's not going to take that. It's only like 20% chance that it could even happen. So he's not going to do that. And he's going to go on into the next debate in September and lose. Then he's going to do another debate, probably in October, and lose. And then he's going to go to the November election and lose. Once he's lost.
Narrator voice: in a world where the most powerful man cannot tell the truth, no one is safe, coming this summer too.
In a world where the most powerful man cannot tell the truth, no one is safe, coming this summer. Liar, liar 2. That's a good one. So, yes, he's probably going to lose. Hooray, the more armed militias outside. He's probably going to lose. And what happens after he loses? Donald Trump takes over, and he absolutely goes on a revenge tour. Revenge. Consequences and repercussions for standing against Donald Trump. He will shut down the Jack Smith investigation, for sure. That's day one. He will shut down the Georgia investigation. He will shut down the Florida investigation. He will shut down the New York, any payment scheme he had, anything that the New York one, which is already he's already been found guilty for, he will just not do. He just won't do it. If they say you have to pay us a bunch of money, he just won't. What are you going to do? You can't sue him. He's not criminally liable for anything ever. He has total immunity. You see, he won't do anything that court tells him, which makes it almost entirely pointless. He will then absolutely bring the judge and the DA and anybody involved in that thing, and maybe even the motherfucking jury, to the Capitol for military tribunals and shit. Motherfucker's going to start running trials, and you won't be able to stop him. The Senate will do nothing. The Senate will, the Dems on the Senate will complain. They'll go on TV and say how sad it is. That's it. The Republicans will be loving it. They'll be cheering and jumping up and down. They'll be having a great time as their enemies lay prostrated before them, beaten and defeated. They'll love it. They'll have a great time. And they'll tell you that they're doing it to save the country. They'll do wild, illegal things in the name of defending the country. It's a lie. They're not defending the country. They're making themselves feel better. Because that's what this is all about. The Supreme Court feels like Donald Trump needs to not be prosecuted for crimes. So they made it where he's just immune to all crime. This is just based on their feelings. All politics are based on feelings. The Supreme Court feels like Donald Trump shouldn't be held responsible for his actions. And so they have abandoned all law regarding the president. Is Joe Biden going to do anything with that newfound amazing king-like power that he gained today? He won't, because he has principles, because he has ethics, because he has a bit of morality within him. I challenge any conservative to show me over the next 4 months, because we have all of July, August, September, October. He has all of 4 months to be the mad king that you've always said he was. Show it to me. Drop the links into my Discord. Tell me where Joe Biden, over the next 4 months, acts like the Mad King.
Discord.
You should put it in the Discord instead.
Discord. https Discord GG Beignet Tridix 8. But gas prices are high.
Gas prices are high. We can't vote for Joe Biden. Gas prices are high. If Joe Biden is the terrible nightmare monster fascist communist that you say he is, Republicans, he'll jack those prices up, won't he? If he is this horrible tax and spend monster, then expect for the next 4 months that he will just be doing wild and crazy illegal things. But it won't happen. I know it won't happen because he has ethics. Donald Trump has none. He has no principles. He will break this country to benefit himself. But Biden won't. Honestly, he won't. And that is the difference. And that is the only difference that matters anymore. Best case scenario, really, honestly, not kidding, best case, Biden wins. Biden sticks it out, cuts through the malarkey. Let's go, Jack. All the people see this terrible news. They all watch my stream and find out how terrible a guy Donald Trump is. And Biden wins. So he's not going to use this power. He's not going to use this authority. He's not going to have a Senate or a House that will put any sort of legislation to control it. All we've done is kick this can 4 years down the road. The next Republican to win will destroy the country. Maybe it's 24, maybe it's 28. The next Republican to win will absolutely ruin the country. It's already hollowed out by capitalism. They will make it worse. They will bring all the ideas that they have, the entire Project 2025, and they will make it happen. They will make it reality.
Plot twist: Biden wins, passes Kamala Harris, becomes Queen, secret vengeful queen.
Maybe. But even then, I wouldn't call that best case scenario because I don't want anybody to be the king. I don't want anybody to be the queen. I don't want anybody to have that authority and that power. But that's not a choice anymore. The choice is who you give ultimate authority and superpower to. They used to be constrained by laws, but they're not anymore. You have mediocre, milquetoast Democrats who will do nothing with that power. Or you have fascists on the right. That's it. Stand still or be fascist. Those are our only choices. It's not choices that I want to make. Kamala Harris becomes the secret queen, vengeful queen. Would she then, how would she undo her own queen-like power? She probably couldn't. She would have to get the Supreme Court changed. She would have to arrest them, which she won't do. She would have to pack the court with 7 more people, which won't pass the Senate. Honestly, I think the arresting them is far more effective, and you can't hold her responsible for it, honestly. She'll never be held responsible for it. If Biden had the gigantic super balls that I wish he had, he would arrest them right now. There would be 6 Supreme Court justices in jail, and Donald Trump wouldn't be able to do a damn thing about it. He could complain about it, he could cry and whine about it, but he can't do anything. Legally speaking, the only answer for them would be violence, which is what they would do, which is what they would bring. If Queen Kamala Harris starts using that power, violence from the right. If Biden starts using it, violence from the right will erupt. That's it. Game over. Country complete. Country over. Done. Donezo. What are we at? 257 years or something like that? How old is it? 1776 to 24. We're at 249 years or something like that. Yeah. Over and done with. Completo. Finito. But as I said, maybe the brown shirts will steal a few of the higher level streamers, and then no one will watch them because they won't be streaming. Everyone will come watch me, and I'll get a couple of weeks where I just get to be the most important person on stream, and then I'll say mean thing about King Trump, and then they will kick down my door and steal me and take me away to the re-education camp. So what we're going to have to watch for is how far that immunity spreads. Donald Trump is immune, but what if he tells you to do a thing, then you do that thing, and that thing is illegal? He's immune, sure. Are you? If he deputizes a whole bunch of the Jan 6 rioters and gives them cool matching brown shirts, how much authority will they have? He will be immune from anything they do. Telling them to trample your rights, telling them to shoot innocent protesters. They might get in trouble for it, but he will be immune to it. And if they do get prosecuted, he will then just pardon them. And then somebody will pay him to do so. Yeah, I can't, I'm sitting here trying to chess move all my way around this, and I can't figure it out. I don't think that there is a way out. I don't think there's a way around it. I don't think there's a way we can salvage it, honestly. What we need to do is have moral and upright, upstanding presidents from now on. Joe Brandon has promised, we saw him promise not to use this power and authority. I don't think he will. I see no evidence that he would. And if you see evidence of him doing so, please link it to me and I will watch it and I will keep my eye on the politics and we will all feel it together if he does. And then he will, if best case scenario, he wins. And then for 4 more years after that, he doesn't use the power and authority. But then at some point, a Republican wins the presidency. They do, at some point. And they do use it as much as they want in all the ways that they can. The Project 2025 is saved on a hard drive. You know, it's not going anywhere. They won't forget. The next Republican president to win will enact it completely, totally, thoroughly. And you won't be able to do a damn thing about it. They will put all of those, they will use the lists, because here's the list. Conservative-backed groups is creating a list of federal workers it suspects could resist Trump plans. See? This guy, who looks like a thumb, will, from his home office in a small town in Kentucky, a seasoned political operative is quietly investigating scores of federal employees suspected of being hostile to the policies of Republican Donald Trump. A highly unusual and potentially chilling effect that dovetails with the broader conservative preparations for a new White House. Tom Jones and his American Accountability Foundation are digging into the backgrounds. Thumbelina, that's him. Backgrounds, social media posts, and commentary of high key-ranking government employees. They're looking at their social media posts to see if they like Donald Trump. If they don't, they get fired. Starting with the Department of Homeland Security, they're relying in part on tips from the network of conservative contacts. Secret conservative spies that work inside the Homeland Security, telling everybody who's a lib, who's woke, so they can be fired, including workers. In a move that alarms some, they're preparing to publish the findings online. With a $100,000 grant from the Heritage Foundation, its goal is to post 100 names of government workers to a website this summer and show potentially new administration who might be standing in the way of Trump's second-term agenda and ripe for scrutiny, reclassifications, and reassignments or firings. They are putting together lists already of the people that they will at first fire, and there will be nothing you can do. Those careers will be ruined. They'll be canceled because Republicans love cancel culture. They just don't like it when it's pointed at them. You see, they love canceling other people. Do it all the time. Have been for decades. They love it. But if you use it against them for reasons that they don't like, they scream bloody murder, call it cancel culture, and say that you're being woke. So that's that. They're making lists, checking them twice. Let's see what other things we've got. Oh, hey, Trump moves to overturn Manhattan conviction, citing immunity decision. Former President Donald Junebug Trump took the action hours after a Supreme Court ruling granted him immunity for official acts committed in office. Now, I know you're a smart guy. You're saying, but Waldo, all that shit happened in 2015. before he was president. Do you think he cares? Do you think the Supreme Court gives a rat's ass when this happened? No, they do not care. They don't give a shit about when he committed these crimes. He's immune to everything, and he ought to be immune from everything because he is the special boy. He is the chosen one. He is the golden goose. He is immune to anything that they say he is immune to. They don't give a damn about your facts and your logic and your laws and your rules and your bylaws and your written down stuff in black and white. They don't care. They are the authority now. The judges are the authority. The judges rule this country now. It's not yours anymore, it's theirs. This country now belongs to the Supreme Court, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Donald Trump began an effort on Monday.
Well, I am gonna go have some nightmares. Thanks for the stream, Waldo.
Have some nightmares, KBP. Good night. Donald Trump began an effort on Monday to throw out his recent criminal convictions in Manhattan and postpone his upcoming sentencing, citing a new Supreme Court ruling that granted him broad immunity from prosecution for official actions he took as president, according to the person with knowledge of the matter. In a letter to the judge overseeing the case, Donald Trump's lawyers sought permission to file a motion to set aside the verdict, doing so just hours after the Supreme Court issued its landmark ruling involving one of Mr. Trump's other criminal cases. The letter will not be public until Tuesday at the earliest, after which prosecutors will have a chance to respond. The move from Mr. Trump's lawyer came 10 days before the judge was set to sentence the former president for his crimes in Manhattan, because that's 10 days away. Yeah, on the 11th, we will be getting the sentencing. The effort to set aside the conviction might be a long shot. The Manhattan case centers on acts Donald Trump took as a candidate, not a president. Yet his lawyers are likely to argue that prosecutors built their case partly on evidence from the time when he was in the White House. Remember the thing we said earlier? That evidence can't be, any evidence you gain from his official actions can't be used in court. So this is going to shoot the evidence in the ass. The evidence is now shot in the ass, which means that this case, even the one in Manhattan, state charges might get overturned. And that's how he's going to get out of the Georgia stuff, too. The stuff in Georgia is a state case. The Florida documents are a federal case. However, I have no doubt that Judge Eileen Cannon right now is putting together paperwork saying that this is an official act and he is immune from it. It's gone. It's done. It's over. They're not going to get him on that because he did this as an official act. He officially said that he declassified them inside his mind. Doesn't get any more official than that. That was one of his excuses. That's one of his defenses. I declassified them in my mind. I thought that they ought to be declassified. So they were. There's nothing more official than that, than his very thoughts. So that's official. That case is gone, done, over with. Not going to happen. The Jack Smith case is going to be dropped because every bit of evidence has to do with him being in office and being in charge. So that's over too. It's over. It's done. He has won. Donald Trump has put together a conservative team in the Supreme Court that has bent over backward. They have broken the law. They have broken the definitions of words. They have twisted every single thing that they can to defend him because he's on the red team. That's it. They don't even like him. He's on the red team. That's it. That's all it takes for them to break the country, to make sure that the red team wins. Doesn't matter what the rules are of the game. They will break it to make sure that they win because they have the will to win, and that is all they have. They don't have ethos. They don't have principles. They don't have guardrails. They don't have guidelines. They don't even have, honestly, enmity and spite. The voters have spite. The voters have lots of spite. Donald Trump has lots of spite. But the Supreme Court? No, they don't. They're just doing this so that their team wins. And they think that's fine because they don't care. This isn't a country to them. This isn't a place where people live. It's a game. It's a chessboard. And they will win, no matter what.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.